welcome. This is my channel, Helen Mary Jo. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're returning, thank you. And if you're a house bell, hello. You can see I'm in the kitchen today. I'm trying to do 3 things at once. It might end badly, but we'll have a go anyway. So the first thing I'm doing is cranberry sauce. The easiest thing on the planet. And yes, I'm going to do that now. First of all, I've got 3 cups of cranberries here. I've got them in my lovely holly and ivy Christmas pudding bowl, which is too small for my Christmas pudding, annoyingly. But yes, I'm just going to add a cup of water to the saucepan. So there's 3 cups of cranberries, I think I said, and that was the whole packet basically, so they're probably all much for muchness. So just gonna put the heat up on here. So it's 1 cup of water and 1 cup of sugar. Now that's wet, so I'm just gonna quickly dry that one, ends up with all the sugar stuck to it. You know, I mean, I have got a jar of cranberry in the fridge, but that's really because you know, if we're having roast chicken away from Christmas, I like a bit of cranberry, but I wouldn't be bothered to make it because I wouldn't need this quantity. So 1 cup of sugar. So annoying that this doesn't go into the pot, so I just put a little tiny bit extra in there. So basically, all you're doing there is melting the sugar. So it's as easy as that. You just melt the sugar into the water. See, Dolly's asking to go out again. She's just come in, and that's because I gave her a treat to come in. She's so annoying. I'm just going to ignore it, and if she goes really mad, I'll have to let her out. But most of the time, it's not because she actually wants to go out. It's because she wants a treat. So I was just looking for my silicone spatula there because now that's boiling already. That was quick, wasn't it? So can you see? It's just coming to the boil there, and that's it really. There's only 3 ingredients, so I'm going to add a little extra ingredient. I'm going to let her out. What I won't do is let her in. So that's just come to the boil there really quickly, and then you just tip the washed cranberries into the pan and just let that boil away. You know, until they start popping really. Now you can then have the cranberries as whole or as soft as you like. I mean, you want them soft, they're quite bitter. Now I'm going to add some orange zest to this because it gives it a nice little extra flavour. And I'm also going to add half an orange of juice. And you know, the other day when I used my little icing sugar shaker that I got from Metal Box for my bottom drawer, equally this is a little Tupperware orange squeezer that I've had probably for 42 years. Can't believe I'm that old. But this was from Tupperware, and you know, in the days of Tupperware parties, used to have those regularly. And to be fair, nearly all of it is still in use. So, you know, in that regard, plastic is really good, isn't it? Because, you know, the toys that Henry had that were plastic that we kept, his little boys are now playing with. So I'm just going to add that orange juice in, and that just gives it a nice little added something. And they're boiling away in there, beautiful colours. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit while I tell you the next thing that I'm doing, which I can do while that is boiling. So that's not causing any harm. The next thing I am making is my bread sauce. Now equally, this is as simple can be. So in here I've got, I think it's 50 grams of butter. This is salted butter, so I'm not adding salt. Some cloves and a chopped onion, and just got some bay leaves out of the garden. I'm going to tear those. Apparently it's only by tearing them that you release the oil and the flavour. So putting those in, I'm going to put in some white pepper, because I don't want it to be coloured by the black pepper. And then I've got just over a litre of milk. And this is all going into the microwave to just bring, oh, that's going a bit crazy there. You could do this on the hob, but it's just easier for me to do it in the microwave. That needs a good clean. Yeah, so you can see now that they're starting to kind of pop. A lot of those have popped now, and I'm just going to keep going with that until it simmers and starts to thicken and the juice of the cranberries comes through. So this has been so useful, this little halogen hob. I bought this years and years ago in Lidl, and when we had to live in the cabin for 6 months, this microwave and a slow cooker was my only cooking source, and it worked brilliantly. And now it's coming in for this. I had a friend who had no kitchen for a while, she borrowed it. This is 9 years old and it's still perfectly good. It wasn't expensive. They're very handy to have if you end up being a TV chef. So that's just simmering away nicely. Now, I've made my breadcrumbs and I have done extra. This is a double recipe because we all love bread sauce in this house. And I have just read that the origins of bread sauce is from medieval times. So it's where they used to kind of basically soak the old bread in milk to make stuffings and just, well, to fill their bellies, I suppose. So yeah, Middle Ages, who knew? The fact that I've used sourdough makes it even more authentic, doesn't it? I mean, it's not as pure white as it would be if I used regular white bread, but I don't mind that because it looks a little bit more rustic, doesn't it? And kind of real. So I'll see how that's coming along. You don't really want to boil this. Yeah, no, that's got a way to go. Yeah, I'll put it on for 3 minutes. Yeah, you don't want that to really boil, you just want it to simmer, and basically all you're doing is infusing the milk with the flavours, and then all we're going to do after that, and I will need a big bowl for that actually, is I've got to sieve the milk. So basically, you have to take all the kind of gubbins from the milk, sieve that, and then just mix it with the breadcrumbs. And there's a couple of big chunks in there. The mixer was really struggling with this today because it's quite stale. But yeah. So all you do is use the flavoured milk and put it into your breadcrumbs. I mean, that is how it couldn't be easier, could it really? So that's coming along nicely. I don't want them all to be, I don't want it to be like mushy. So it's got a little way to go, but you do have to keep your eye on it because otherwise it could just become like you wouldn't know they were cranberries, if you know what I mean. So it looks lovely, doesn't it? So Christmassy. So that's Dolly banging on the door now to come back in. Well, she's out of luck because she asked to go out. It's freezing out there today. So that'll teach her. Now, I'll clear this up in a second and I will come back to you. And the last thing I'm making today is a Pavlova, and I'm making that in the slow cooker, which I've never done before. I have lined, you can just see behind me, the slow cooker is lined with baking parchment, and I think it said it takes 3 hours on low. So yeah, it's a new one on me. but just see how that's coming along. Just take it up a little bit. It's so efficient, this hob. You just want that to start to thicken, and that you need the pectin to come out of the cranberries to enable the thickening process to start and to boil off some of the liquid. So that won't take long now. See how this is doing. Casey made me laugh this morning. She'd forgotten to find the elf on the shelf. You know, you start doing these things, don't you? And then you wonder why. Put that on for another 1.5 minutes, I think. Yeah, so what I'll do with this is once it's cooled, I'll put it into a kilner jar and I'll put that in the fridge. So I'll stop the video there and I'll just wait for that to be ready. I'll let the dog in and show you the finished article. So that's the cranberry sauce. You can see how that is thickened right up now, but there's still several whole fruits in there. So I'll just let that cool down to then put it in the jar. Then just move this out of the way. I've got the breadcrumbs here. They're ready for the infused milk that's been standing there now, happily kind of getting the flavours from the onion, the cloves, the pepper, butter, and just kind of pour that in to the breadcrumbs, straining out all of that gubbins, wiping up that mess. I'll just let that absorb, and as that cools down, that should thicken. If it doesn't thicken enough, I will just boil it with the breadcrumbs in until it does. So it smells yum. Not everybody likes bread sauce, but in this house we love it. And I want plenty because we always have it with the cold meats on Boxing Day as well. So that's the bread sauce made. So now it's just the Pavlova. Right, so I didn't have any caster sugar, so I'm just going to put some granulated sugar. I've got this little mini blender here. I'm just going to pop the the granulated sugar into there and pulse it up so that it's finer for the meringue. Because usually, you know, for cakes and that, I don't worry, but for meringue, I think you do need caster sugar. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. It's a lot cheaper. Granulated sugar is a lot cheaper than caster sugar, so this is an easy way of getting caster sugar, really. And that's absolutely perfect now. Can you see? So much finer. So that's 1.5 cups of now caster sugar and 6 egg whites. Now I'm sure you all know that the bowl has to be scrupulously clean. So even though this was a clean bowl, I have just given it another wash with washing up liquid to make sure that there's no grease in the bowl. And similarly with the beaters, they have to have no grease on them or they simply won't whip. So just going to plug this in. So just going to pop these in. This is for the North Pole party for the children. So just start whipping, keeping the beaters as deep into the egg whites as you can. Now that didn't take a minute even, but obviously I didn't want you to hear all that beater, so I have fast forwarded to this point. But we're just coming together, forming nice peaks. Then I'm going to start slowly adding the caster sugar. Just pop some in. The last of the sugar. Now, I've never made pavlova in the slow cooker before, but I have seen lots of people say, you know, you have to take everything with a pinch of salt, but say that they would never do their pavlova any other way now. So we'll see. It helps, you know, because you don't always want to put the oven on to just turn it really low, do you? That's quite stiff, but not stiff enough, so I'm going to do it for a little bit longer. That's better now, you can see. It kind of feels heavier, so when I'm lifting the beaters out, it feels heavier and it feels thicker. I'm just going to give it another 10, 30 seconds. So that's lovely. Not going anywhere. You know that test, put it over your head, I'm not doing that. So now, as I told you, I've lined the slow cooker. This is a 6 litre slow cooker. It's the same one that I did my Christmas pudding in, my Christmas cake in. And again, I've had this for donkey's years because they are, they're very basic really. You know, there's not a lot to them, so there's not a lot to go wrong. So I'm just going to pile this in here. I mean, obviously you would normally have a, you know, a round shape, but this is oval. So I'm just going to do the best I can. And try not to do that and flip it up the sides. I'm just going to dollop it all in and then worry about the aesthetics once I've got it in there. That's lovely and thick. So, you see, I've literally just popped it in there, and then I'm just going to, with the back of the spoon, just kind of level it out in here. You're not gonna, you know, it's not gonna be possible to get that kind of big round pavlova, is it? But we'll see. We'll see. The jury's out until we get there. So I'm just trying to push it down in the middle a little bit because I am going to fill it with whipped cream. And yeah, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to put it in the slow cooker for an hour and a half, and I'll come back and keep your fingers crossed. So it turned out doing the pavlova in the slow cooker was a disaster. What a waste. So this is the table set up for the North Pole party for the children after school. You can see the, I think they were called kisses, weren't they, there, and the little truck with the trees in the bottom. and they've got their advent bags and etc, etc, and we had a lovely evening. No Pavlova, but they didn't care. So in this video I'm just doing the sausage rolls, the same ones that I made last year, using 1 packet of stuffing mix and 1 packet of sausage meat with the large pack of puff pastry. And I did have some flour there in case I needed it for rolling, and an egg for brushing at the end. Needed a knife for cutting them, and then it's all just a case of combining them really. So I had made the stuffing mix and let it cool down, because don't want to put that in with the sausage meat and kind of start cooking the sausage meat, you know, and then risking bacteria. I always wear the latex gloves because I just find that easier. I don't want to get the mix up my nails and in my rings and everything. So I just put the sausage meat in with the stuffing mix and then just bring it all together with my hands. I find it's the easiest way of doing it rather than trying to use a spoon, because you can kind of blend and mix all the sausage meat and stuffing mixed together and get it really well combined. And that's quite important really. You don't want any kind of lumps of sausage meat or lumps of stuffing that aren't pulled together. So I just work away at that, getting that pulled together, and then once it's ready we can put it into the ready rolled puff pastry. This really is so simple, and honestly these are so popular with the family. It's something that they love. Well, we all love them, to be honest. So yeah, sorry I couldn't do this to camera, but I had a really sore eye, so I couldn't put my lenses in, and then that makes I couldn't put any makeup on either, so bit of a nightmare. But that's the two things all pulled together. So just washing my hands with the gloves on so that I can still use them while I then prepare the puff pastry. It hadn't actually been left out of the oven long enough, so I had to, out of the fridge long enough, so it was still a bit sort of stuck together. So I had to stop filming and just wait for that to come up to room temperature. So there's the pastry now up to room temperature and unrolled nice and easily. Any little splits or anything you can just press together. Then I just cut that in half lengthways, because that will be the two lengths of sausage roll that I make. And you can use the backing paper that's on the pastry for, you can use that as your baking parchment if you want to. You can put that into the oven, but I think I'd already lined my baking tray, and then just kind of make the sausage meat and stuffing into, well, you know, obviously sausage shape, and lay that on the pastry, kind of just equally distributing it really. There's enough mix there for 2 whole sausage rolls, like long sausage rolls, and then you can just pull that together and pull the pastry over, seal it, and then brush it with beaten egg yolk to give it a nice finish. Into this you could add some apple sauce if you wanted to. You could add anything really, a little bit of cranberry sauce if you wanted to. You can really zhuzh it up if that's your inclination. We quite like it just as it comes. I do use good quality sausage meat, and I find that that does make a difference because you don't have that fat leaking out everywhere. I think the stuffing mix helps with that as well, actually, because it absorbs any fats that you know, might leak out, and then it gives you those kind of brown bits on the bottom of the sausage rolls, which aren't very nice. And of course there's Dolly reminding us that she still needs to be let out, even though I'm trying to do this voiceover. So you can see here the 2 lengths of the sausage roll pulled together, And at this point I'm just going to cut them down and seal the edges. I just use the end of the knife to just make sure that those edges are well sealed. I don't worry about using water, they don't seem to need that to seal the pastry. It's all quite straightforward. It's all quite resilient too, I would say. Don't have a problem with doing that at all. So yeah, oh, I use a fork, I've forgotten. You can use a fork or the corner of the point of the knife, it doesn't matter. And then just get those ready for the oven. So you can see I've just cut the sausage rolls carefully, and then I just put a couple of slits in the top of each one to let the steam out, and then brush them with beaten egg, and they're good to go. I think they took about half an hour on 180 fan oven, and I can assure you they were delicious. While all that cooking's going on, I just thought I'd show you this because everyone seemed to enjoy the laundry video that I did. So this is another thing that I do. I do this all the time. It's what I do, and I just thought I'd show you. So this is when it comes to the smalls, and I've told you before I love these octopus hangers for drying all of underwear, and then I've got this basket that says undercrackers on it, and what I do is I just get the pants, fold the crotch up, sides in, and then fold them in half. Then I put them into the basket, and then I take it upstairs, and then I can just lift these out and put them straight in the drawer. And I do the same with Rob and his pants, and I do all the pants on the bottom, and then I do the socks and they go on the top. I don't normally have this much, but I left the washing for a little while, and so it's piled up rather. So there's two lots to fit in here. So these are little Sebby's socks, they were here at the weekend. So I put those to one side. Then same with Rob's pants, he wears brief, so it's exactly the same. Crotch into the middle, over, fold in half. So I find it's a really effective way of keeping it all organised, and like I say, I just do this, leave it on the side, and then it's simple for Rob to just lift those out. I hang the socks up in the pairs because I find that just take, all of this stuff you have to do it at some point, don't you? So we might as well do it when you hang it up, in my humble opinion. I mean, I do get irritated when Rob does the folding because he doesn't turn anything the right way round, and that's all right when it's his pants, he can do what he likes, but anyway, won't go on. So yeah, so you can see it's just really easy and tidy way of organising stuff. And I'm lucky I've got this utility room, and we designed it so that I've got 2 drawers next to the washing machine that I can keep dirty laundry in or ironing in, and then I keep these in because actually they don't take up any room, do they, once they're empty. And yeah, so did that back to front. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that because it's another little tip at home with Helen. And we all have these little things that we do and think they're obvious. But I mean, this is a fairly new thing for me, I have to say. It really started when I read the Marie Kondo Secret Art of Tidying, and that made me kind of fold my pants in this way. And the other thing that I do is I stack my bras. I I fold them in half, you know what I mean, with the wiring, and then I just, they're like in a filing system in the drawer. So I find that the easiest way to store those as well. So anyway, just thought I'd share. It's just a boring job, but I thought I'd share with you. So that's the whole lot done, ready to go upstairs. And I've just got to show you these cute little pets. Aren't they adorable? They're Giargos, obviously, not Rob's. Although once when he was, when Henry was just a little boy, Rob did wear a pair of pants to work that were his, and he got home and he said these pants are so small, and Henry was about 7. Oh lordy lordy.